Okay, so thank you so much for joining us this morning, everybody. My name is Josh Belize. I'm the director of the Alumni office here at Millersville, and I'm joined this morning at our Coffee with the Dean conversation with Dean Laura Willox.
Good
We
morning.
also have with us this morning Dr. Zac Bauermaster. And we also have Dr. Miriam Witmer with us as well to get the conversation going. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off. And Zach, since you're our special guest this morning, I'd like to start with you if I could. And I'll just say, where has life taken you since your time as a Marauder, since you've been here at Millersville?
Yeah, well, good morning. It's great to be here. And I just made sure to get my coffee ready. Look, good. I was ready. As I said, really excited to be here. I graduated Millersville in 2009, and my time at Millersville was awesome as I was pursuing a degree in education, but also playing basketball. And Dr. Witmer was my what do you call that? Supervising professor when I
Yeah.
was out in the field as a student teacher. And it's just really neat to think. So my student teaching began at Manor Middle School in Penn Manor, which is right there
Mhm.
at Millersville. So just a great experience there. And you think about, and when I think about that first experience, you continually step outside your comfort zone. Like you're there and you're comfortable just watching your cooperating teacher teach, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Can you take tomorrow's lesson, or can you plan a lesson for next week?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, it's going to be me in front of the class leading it." And it can be an overwhelming experience. And all of a sudden you realize you're planning a unit. You're like, "I don't know if I can plan a unit," and then you plan a unit. And then before you know it, you're done that experience. And then you head out and you're looking for that first job. And I got my first teaching job at Solanco High School, where I taught for 3 years social studies. And then I taught for 5 years at the middle school level in Solanco. So I was a social studies teacher at the secondary level. Just truly great experiences, and we can unpack them. But then I got into administration, and I was looking for a job within administration in Solanco because I am from Solanco. And this is neat. I remember when I was going for that first interview, they don't quite do it like this, but I remember taking my resume and portfolio, and I needed to meet that principal face to face and hand that to them. So I'd encourage you, if you can do that, go ahead and do that. Meet people, make yourself stand out a little bit. But then I remember because he just got hired in his role, and he said, "I didn't want to hire the hometown kid," but he said, so I ended up getting the job. Then I taught for 8 years, and I got into administration. And my first 3 years were at Manheim Central High School. So great experience there. When I was there, I was continuing my education for my doctorate, and my superintendent letter of eligibility. So I really wanted to see it all, and I only had secondary experience. So an elementary assistant principal job opened up. And I was just really curious about to learn from my growth to see all levels. And I got a lot of wisdom from a lot of people. Some people said you don't need that. Leadership is leadership. Some people said I think it would be helpful to get in an elementary school and experience it. So I went for it, and I spent a year there. And then after a year, I worked under Art Painter, who is a phenomenal leader in Manheim Central. And then I got my first principal job at Kissel Hill Elementary in Warwick. So spent close to 2 years there, and then just wasn't expecting this, but a job opened up back in Solanco, and I have a young family, 13, 10, and 8. So a principal job opened up in Solanco. So I'm now an elementary principal in Solanco. So quite a few experiences, and I look forward to unpacking them. But I love that I've been able to shake hands on stage at graduation with people, seeing them as seniors, but then also welcoming families for the first time, their first experience with school as an elementary principal. And we know experiences shape our attitudes and beliefs. So one of my goals is to really create an environment where kids want to come to school, a place that staff want to be, and a place certainly where families trust and are proud to send their kids.
What a great pathway. I mean, I think that's interesting. And I wonder if you hadn't taken that elementary, you know, leap of faith, I guess, into the elementary
Mhm.
world, if you'd be where you are right now. So I appreciate you kind of sharing your path to where you are. And we can't ignore the fact too that you were recently highlighted and have gone viral for your engagement in your school. Can you just share a little bit about what led to that moment? And then I think we'll probably start unpacking a little bit just the after effects of just
Yeah.
being viral, because not everybody has that experience.
Yeah. And I love unpacking it because I feel like every time I unpack it, I learn something new. So I had, one of my goals is just like, as I mentioned, just a place where kids want to come. I feel like at an early age, too many kids are already saying, I don't want to go to school. And I remember that first time where my wife Carly and I took our oldest to kindergarten, and she marched on those bus steps and she waved us out of the window, and we were just sending our very best to the school. And Carly and I, of course, we cried all the way home. And we just want the school to give her and to give us their very best. So that's my goal, just being able to pour in and give my best. But I had this video that I posted it on a Thursday night, and it was hallway footage. And I'll be honest, I'm the one who captured the footage. But my hope is that you would ask any teacher, staff member, family member, like that's what we do here at Providence. That's what the hallways look like. And one of my goals was to help people see schools from the inside out. A lot of people have perceptions of what school is like. They've been to school, so they think they know what it's exactly like. So I just posted this video, putting some clips together of some fist bumps, some high fives, some hip bumps, a wheelchair ride, just with some great kids here at Providence Elementary School. And I woke up Friday morning, I did my morning routine, and then I checked social media. Don't check social media right away. Do your morning routine first. That's some good advice I have for you.
Appreciate
Um,
that.
yeah, but by that overnight, it had already been seen by millions, millions of views. To this day, the video has 386 million views. It's one of the most watched Instagram reels of all time, over 23 million likes. But I'm not here to talk about how, well, look how many views I got or look how many likes I got. But I think what happened was it just resonated with so many people because of their experience in school. And I received thousands of messages, and there were thousands of comments of people who could point to that one teacher. They could point to that one moment in school that impacted the rest of their life. We plant so many seeds in school and we don't always get to see them grow, but it was awesome just to hear from some grown adults talking about by name those principals and those teachers that impacted their lives. But also, I received some very sad messages from people who would say, that's all I needed. I needed one person to notice me. Somebody said, that's the fist bump I never knew I needed. Somebody said, I'm a 42-year-old blue collar worker and I'm crying right now. If you tell anyone, I'll punch the snot out of you. But so no matter their age, no matter their occupation, there was something about those elementary hallways that took them back to some of those moments that they had. And it really, so that was from my page, but then it has just spread worldwide. Like I was, I don't deserve it, but I was featured in People magazine. I was on Fox and Friends. Inside Edition came here. And I'm just blown away because it truly is, we can get caught up in to-do lists and everything that needs done, but it truly is those little moments that make an impact in the lives of kids and the lives of staff members.
Well, I just have to ask you, how did the students respond to the just all the paparazzi that ended up happening around that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's neat, but it is uncomfortable too.
Mhm.
But they love it. Like some will say, "Hey, I want to get on one of your videos." Or they'll say, I saw it, but it also reminds me, a lot of people are watching. And even though I'm principal of an elementary school, a lot of them are seeing these things that are out there. So just how can we use social media for good? But so it's just been really neat to with some of those interactions. And it's a way, it's not why I set out for it, but it's also a way, as I said, one of my goals is to build trust with families. And this has been a way to build trust and connect with families as well. But it's also been fun. It's nice to have people come here and just showcase the wonderful things. And I like to share how our school counselor at the throughout the year she has minute meetings. And last year at the end of the year, she had the minute meeting where she meets with every single kid. And one of the questions she asks is, do you have a staff member here that you trust? And all 400 kids said they have an adult in the building that they trust. And to me, that's just a compliment to the entire staff at Providence Elementary School and the relationships the teachers and support staff are building. Because, yeah, we have a lot of goals and we want to do the best at everything we can, reading and math and social studies, but it truly does begin with connection and building those relationships.
Dr. Whitmer, I'll let you break in.
Okay, okay, thank you. So first, I have to tell you that when you witness greatness, there's some sparkle in Zac that I saw when he was in college, and just his I don't know, you're so genuine and you're so caring and supportive. And I remember you did Souls for Souls at the middle
Mhm,
school where kids donated
mhm.
their old shoes and he found a way to send them to Africa, I think. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And when I thought about you're doing student teaching and you're actually going to take on this huge project too, like I could just tell that you were destined for all of this. And I
uh,
really, really appreciate that, you know, the video does send, we need more of that, right? We need more of a
mhm.
positive message about what impact educators have in the lives of students and families. And I love that you said that too. So, and you've written a couple of books too. So what's
Yeah,
that all about? How's that been going?
yeah. Well, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that. That soul's my cooperating teacher was Mr. Darren Gue at Manor Middle, and I know we worked hand in hand, and I know you were right alongside there. And I'd encourage the students in the field who are looking to become educators, think about, and it's not why you do it, but think about your gifts, think about your talents, and in those placements, use them. Use them. Don't blend in, blend out, and see what you can do there. Don't hold back just because other people aren't doing it where you're fitting in and just going along. So look for those opportunities. And then I do love to write. And I actually it's funny how it works. The first time I told my wife I was going to write a book, it was like a New Year's resolution. She laughed at me. So I just put that down. Carly laughed at me. No, but that encouraged me. But then I just started to write, especially as I got into leadership opportunities, just sharing stories about things that were happening in schools and in life. And my faith's really important to me. So just tying that in all together to encourage people. And writing is almost the way, it's something I need to do every day. And it's part of my morning routine when we think about self-care and what are you doing. I just love to write. I love getting thoughts down. And it started with journaling. It started with journaling. And I think journaling is a great way to get thoughts down because sometimes we get so much stuck up in here. And we just talked about it before we came on live. We can have so many tabs open, and then we have so many tabs open, our computer's not working effectively. And so sometimes we can close out those tabs by writing down our thoughts and then just resetting. So I love to write, and it's been really neat. One of my favorite parts though is when you hear from, again, when you hear from individuals about the way the books have connected with them or the speaking engagement, some of those side conversations that you hear. So just, and that's what education's all about, really connecting with people. And it's just been another way to communicate and connect with others.
Yeah, I think the word that I keep thinking of after watching your videos and your books and things like that is that you're very focused on relationships. And I always tout
Mhm.
that in my classes, right? Like
Yeah,
relationships really matter. And you know, it's such an interpersonal job. So relationships really are important. But you said a
yeah,
lot of really powerful things there about, you know, the value of or what you value as an
mhm,
educator and as a leader. And I think that that philosophy is it's powerful, you know, it's really because it touches people, you know, they want to have
mhm.
those things. And it was sad to me when you said that people contacted you and said I really wish I would have had that. That's real though. And so
Yeah, yeah.
I think it challenges all of us to make those personal connections with people, so I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. I was just talking to our school nurse this morning, and if you walk around an elementary school, you'll see a couple of things. They ask for a lot of Band-Aids and they ask for a lot of ice packs. So kids are walking around with like an ice pack on their head, just saw it this morning, or their stomach.
Mhm.
But I think this paints a picture of education. It's not just about that little scratch. Sometimes they don't need a Band-Aid. Sometimes they don't really need an ice pack. They just like that feeling of going to the nurse. Often someone's walking alongside them to the nurse. You have that little buddy. And then that nurse gives them a sense, they do a phenomenal job, just a sense of comfort that they're being taken care of. And kids, as I said, families send us their best, but everyone's best looks different. And it's our job to meet them where they are. So some people really come to school for that connection, that relationship, that feeling of being taken care of. So while a lot of people don't need those ice packs or Band-Aids, they just want that sense of feeling, that feeling of being taken care of. And I'd even encourage educators, we can't lose our childlike wonder. We still crave that as well. We need to have people walking alongside us. We need to have those ice packs ready and those Band-Aids, to be caring well for ourselves and walk alongside others who can care well for us.
So thinking about this, is, we have in the room with us, they're not on camera, but we do have a
Mhm.
future educator, and we also have a pretty established educational leader. What do you think, or what advice would you have for other leaders in just helping build that kind of community within this? Like, it's not always easy to do, especially walking in potentially into a building with set established
Yeah,
routines and things. How do you get
yeah,
to that point that you've demonstrated or showed on that video?
yeah, yeah. I think that's a great question, and I think a lot of it is that concept of looking, listening, learning, especially when you're in a new spot where you're not coming in trying to do too much. You're really like you're becoming an archaeologist. You're studying the culture. You're getting to know the people. And what I find is it's not the grand gestures. Yes, there's this video that's now like grand with how many people have seen it, but it's those little moments, as we talked about, that add up. And for me as a school leader, it's really connecting with the staff. And it's as simple as a morning routine of, after greeting the kids as they enter, walking around and saying good morning into every classroom, just making that eye contact. And sometimes in education, educators are the fastest walkers from one place to another. And and I always think of the yellow light, how when we get to a yellow light, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to slow down, but we often go faster through the yellow light. And when
Mhm.
we slow down, like when we're going fast, things are blurry out of our peripheral vision. But when we slow down, things become more clear. So I think it's just purposefully slowing down. Like as I'm walking from point A to point B, hey, there's a teacher in her classroom. Maybe I just need to turn and check in. Hey, how are you doing? How's your kid doing? Or following up. And I like those types of things build up over time. It's those small moments. It's the small moments that really develop the connections, that really develop the trust. And we can never stop working at it. It's not like we can try to build connections and then walk away and they don't see us for 2 weeks. But that's something that I just really think about, that idea of slowing down, truly connecting with people. And we'll always have that feeling of, I was given the advice just this week. Wake up and think about these three things. All right, I got nothing to prove today. I got nothing to lose today, and I got nothing but time today. And that those three things are almost opposite of what we wake up, or I wake up feeling. Like I got to wake up, I got to prove myself. If I don't keep pushing ahead, I'm going to lose this or fall behind here. And then I don't have time. But just switching our mindset to, head into a day and think, you know what, I got nothing but time. And we'll see what comes my way. And I know there are days where maybe I want to stay in my bed a little longer, or stay in my car a little longer. And those are the days I find as I walk the hallways, whether a kid or a staff member, like someone needed me the most, but not necessarily someone needed me. I needed someone the most that day. And that conversation you have, those days you wake up. And I remember my first year of teaching, between period 10 and period 12, there was a bathroom nearby, and I would sit for like 4 minutes. I just needed the silence. I needed to step away, because there were moments when I would wake up in the middle of the night, my first year teaching, and I just loved the silence. I loved it. So it can be hard work. You're in front of people. You're around a lot of people. But just sometimes when we cross off all the things on our to-do list and we leave, it's not a good feeling. And then maybe our to-do list is still sitting there and we connected with a lot of people. You leave feeling a bit better. But of course, with all of that, it's education is people work. We must, and I know this sounds cliche, we must care well for ourselves. We really, and I was teaching in 2015, so I was probably 5 or 6 years in, and married to my wife Carly. We had two kids, and I went through a season. I didn't know what was happening, but I went through a significant season of anxiety and depression. as a teacher. And it was so challenging. I didn't know what was happening and I was trying to keep it all to myself. But one of the best things that happened was I was actually leading a meeting. I was a team leader and anxiety hit, causing me to pass out. And then it caused me to start to share my story with more people and bring people around me. So I wasn't caring well for myself. But as I look back on that time, I'm so glad it happened because I realized how much I needed people in my life. And so that was a great experience to help build and shape my heart for what was to come in different school leadership roles. So I just really encourage people find those find those things when you're at your best, whether it's getting outside, whether it's working out, whether it's eating right, whether it's devotions, whether it's journaling, whatever you're doing, and actually do those things. And that's what I try to model that and I try to encourage the staff to do the same thing so then we can overflow because why are we in education for each child that comes our way and we want to be at our best for them.
Mhm. I really appreciate you saying that. And you're making me think about, yes, we need that self-care. And, some of my foundations block students that I'm teaching now are really struggling with like the image that's portrayed about educators. And should I
Mhm.
really go into this profession? And I mean, do you have any advice or suggestions or thoughts about how do we keep motivating them to let them know the value of this, even though society is often, I mean, it's hard work. And
Yeah.
then you have the
Yeah.
political and all the other pressures that are on teachers
Yeah.
right now. So, any thoughts about
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'd say it was as far as the political, I mean, that's not even my strength zone. And I try to control the controllables, control what I can here, and that is connecting. And I think, and I'm going to bring up social media again because I know it's so relevant. There's this huge social media culture of people getting out of education and when they step away and how freeing it is. And there's that story that's building, and that's part of what I'm trying to do. Not in opposition, but that there are great things that are happening. Like it is hard work. It is certainly hard work, but it's one of those fields that is so rewarding. We talk a lot about, like you'll hear often people talking about what's your why? Why do you do what you do? But in education, we can certainly add that piece, like who? Who do we do it for? And and I think it's helpful to think about the people who have invested in us along the way, and then be those people for other people. Or maybe we didn't have that. Some people are in education because they didn't have a good experience. And that's pretty great as well. Like, hey, I'm going to change the narrative. And that's part of what I want to do, change that narrative a little bit and change a culture of, as I said, test scores are important. And I know we talk about there are politics involved, but change the narrative of controlling what we can in that environment, that school culture that we're creating. So I mean, I really would. We need people in education. I have 3 kids in school, and I want people to be their teachers, and I want people to be their teachers and principals who are going to love them well. And know going in knowing that, hey, they're not a perfect person and they don't have to be perfect, but to pursue excellence and not perfection. I think sometimes we're just always looking for that perfect.
Mhm, mhm.
So I just wrote down what you said about education as people work, and then I also heard you, the just the taking the vital need of taking care of yourself. And I, as a educational leader here in my own building, I see my own faculty and own folks who are giving probably more than they can, and
Yeah.
but continue to give and continue to give. How do you help them keep that motivation to give, but also validating their needs for not giving everything?
Yeah. I think so. I actually, before I came into this, I was talking to my school counselor. I said, hey, I told her what I was about to do. And I said, what do you think? What are some of your thoughts on education? And we talked about how one of the biggest challenges in education are student behaviors and so just the importance of classroom management. And another one that your question just made me think of was the schedule. And we saw since COVID, there's a lot of flexibility in a lot of other jobs. There really are. Whether you're working remotely or, yeah, I go into the office once or twice. In education, you go in for a full day.
Mhm.
And part of what I do, and I can give you some actual strategies that I do are one is I call them email crickets, where I'm not going to email at night and I'm not going to email on the weekend. And I encourage everyone else to do the same, just where they know, hey, I'm going to completely shut it down. I don't need to look for an email from my principal. And I don't want them, I know everyone works at different times and is at a different place in life, but I don't want them to send a work email that maybe someone's not working, but they see it and they're like, oh, someone else is working, or it triggers their thought and it pulls them from where they are. And then sometimes it's the little things where maybe a teacher has an afternoon appointment and they need to leave a little bit early. I'm going to find coverage and we're going to support that. Just a lot of those little things that we can do. And I talk to teachers a lot about, and I myself, too often we try to find a work-life balance and we can never reach it. More than ever, work comes home, home goes to work. And I talk about a work-life rhythm where you picture a seesaw. And when it's at its best, it's just moving up and down. And as I said, everyone's at a different season in life, so we can't be looking around at how long's, and I, from even talking to my sister who used to teach in elementary school, she's now home with kids, but she just remembers that pressure people put on themselves, like, hey, that teacher's still here working, or that teacher's getting here before me. Everyone has a different rhythm, and I want to encourage people to find, hey, where's your family right now? Where are you right now? What are you able to, maybe this time of the school year, maybe this time of your life, you're not able to give quite like you would, but that's okay. Just come in, give your best each and every day. But just, yeah, just in summary, I think it is really that work-life rhythm. And a key part of that is presence. When you're at work, be as present as you can be. When you're at home, be as present as you can be. And then again, I just keep coming back to it as I'm thinking about it because I need it. Give yourself grace, give yourself compassion, because compassion fatigue can be big in education because you're pouring so much into others. And then sometimes you maybe feel like you're not getting anywhere.
Thank you. Yeah. We have a lot in our college because we're really the human services and education. We have psychology and social work with us as well. So we're all the helping professions. And I think everyone who's drawn to helping sometimes is drawn to that giving and giving and giving, and sometimes loses sight of their own need to fill their own cups too.
Yeah.
So trying to help support folks and ensuring that they can continue to give. So
Yeah. Yeah. And there's I I forget who it is. There's a great chart. It's called like perceptions of a first teacher's attitude towards their first year of teaching. And it's this chart about how a teacher can feel throughout a year. But I don't even think it's just a first year teacher. I feel it every year where like, and it's by month. In August, there's that anticipation. You get into September and it starts to go down, survival. And you get into October and November and it's called disillusionment. And that can be really, and I think it's important to know that. And I found that helpful because there were some years I really struggled in October. I was like, what is going on? That initial start to the school year wears off, and you're like, all right, here we go. But then as you get through, as you're in that the December and January, there you start to be revitalized and rejuvenated, and it shows it going back up. And there's a time of reflection leading into that anticipation again. So I think that's always been really helpful for me because any job you have, if you're doing it right, there is going to be stress. It is going to be hard. But I think that's why we go back to caring well for yourself, having understanding of what it is like. And that's why as a principal, I want to be very supportive in what everyone's doing. But I know that can be really helpful for me, just that idea of leading with empathy and understanding where people are depending on the time of the year.
thank you.
Mhm.
Do any of our guests want to ask a question or engage?
I apologize. Hi, Zach. I'm Tiffany Wright. I
Hi,
coordinate our
Tiffany.
leadership. It's good to meet you. I'm sorry I'm
Nice
not
to
on
meet you.
camera. I'm commuting from home to my office.
Mhm.
Um, and I appreciate you being here. Uh, And I'm a former school leader myself, and I very much have shared that same philosophy that you're sharing. And we try to share that with our students as well, preparing them into the leadership field. One thing that I know we always talk about is the relationship that school leaders have with the union leadership. And I was really struck by your comment about you'll find coverage for that teacher who needs to leave a few minutes early. So, how do you balance what the union contract says, and how do you develop that relationship with union leaders so that you're able to do things like that for your teachers?
Yeah, Tiffany, that's a great question. And I think so, a couple things I think of. One, I think it goes back, I think about my superintendent, Dr. Bliss, and he does a phenomenal job of he gets it. And last year
Yep.
at the end of the school year, I shook his hand and I said, "Thanks for letting me be me, be myself." And he said, "That's exactly who I want you to be." Because he allows me to do that, I can be myself at the building level, and he supports those decisions I make. And the building actually collectively with trust picks each other up and understands like, hey, I'm probably going to need to be out. And if, I mean, there are limitations on it. It's not like, hey, I'm leaving at 1 o'clock. It's more of, hey, our dismissal's at 4. I need to head out at 3:15, 3:30. But people pick each other up and understand it can be hard to get appointments, especially when we're in elementary school that goes close to 4 o'clock. And by the time you're out of here and getting home, you're looking at 4:35. So I think I've been blessed with wonderful district office leadership to work around, and I think that empowers me and the other principals in the district to be ourselves and be able to make decisions where we know our superintendent trusts us. So I don't know if that answers your question because that's a huge layer at the building principal level because sometimes you can feel, for lack of a better term, like someone in the middle. And just being able to work well, build relationships with both at the district level and at the building level.
Yeah, that really does. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you taking time out of your day to stop and talk with us. And this video will be available for folks to watch and to share. So I don't want to leave. I don't know Alexa's situation, if she can get on camera or get on at all, but we do serve a lot of new professionals, and we have a lot of new teachers going out into the field. What advice do you have for them as they begin this adventure? Um,
Yeah. I think first, just thinking the work is all about people and just going in with that mindset to love and care for others well, to really be an encourager. There's like when you think about heading in and do an interview, there are intangibles. Like you just want to see someone passionate who loves people, but also with that growth mindset. Hey, I don't know it all, but I'm going to get in because that's where we really learn. We learn when we're in the field. And I think those are two things I certainly look for, where just a passion for people, a curiosity, just willing to look and to wonder and to grow. And I think those things will take somebody far. And I think there's actually a really good podcast by Jimmy Casas. It's called The Interview Chair. And what he does, he tries to remind people when you get tired in education or any field to go back to remember what you said in the interview chair and who you were and just that passion of, hey, I want to do whatever it takes for these kids. I want to do whatever it takes to connect, to inspire, to empower the people I'm around. So in summary, remember the work is all about people. Just be curious, always looking to grow, and be passionate in all that you do.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
that's
have fun doing it. Have fun doing it. I think here's what's interesting, where you have this viral video, and I do speaking as well. But I love the speaking because I think some people expect me to be a big like rah rah guy, but that's not really who I am. I like to go really, really deep and get to the heart and connect, because we do something called Fist Bump Friday, and we talk about, like, if you take a look at your hand, these are weak. They're weak by themselves, but we talk about coming together and being stronger together. So when we do fist bumps, it's not just good job all the time. It's I see you, hey, I'm in your corner. If I'm dealing with the discipline, I have the conversation, but when they leave, I give them a fist bump. Or if we have a tough conversation, the next day when I see them, sometimes they don't have their eyes up. I give them a fist bump, like, hey, it's a new day. Here we go again. And as I said earlier, it's those little conversations that we have all the time that build trust. But yeah, going back, I think sometimes think I might be a hype guy, but that's not me at all. I like to go deep and to get to the heart of things and to really connect with people.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Dr. Bauermaster and Dr. Witmer and Dean Willox for joining us this morning. Definitely some great conversations. And Zach, thank you so much for all of your inspirational words. Definitely, I'm leaving this meeting feeling motivated. But if you want to feel motivated too, those of you in the audience, make sure you join us for our next Coffee with the Dean. And we've got our website, so you can check that out for our next event. And we wish everyone a great day. Thank you so much.
I have one
Thank you.
last
Oh
thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
Zach, can I reach out to you via email